I printed these off. If you want them. I mean, last night I forgot. Hey! Larry. Yeah.
That's the part I got.
There you go. You know it. Definitely.
He told me they were going to induce if it didn't happen. If it didn't happen, they were going to induce, but it didn't happen. Sharon was at PT today, and so she was Sharon's physical therapist. She was saying that she was ready to have it. Heading yourself over to the second child. Heading. Start at 5:30. Clock says 5. But isn't it?
As soon as this gets all hammered out for HR, then open the,
Okay, 5:30 it is. Bing, bing, bing.
that's done.
Welcome. Let me call the meeting to order. We are at the City Council chambers. Today's date is October 13, 2025. The time is 5:30 p.m. And would those able join us in the pledge? Roll call, please.
Fonseca? Here. Kell?
Here.
Lottiehoff?
Here.
Mitchell?
Here.
Nichols?
Here.
Schneider?
Here.
Thompson?
Here. Very good, full house. I don't have my public comment proviso, but I can wing it, I think. Time now is for anybody who would like to speak publicly. You're to approach the mic, state your name and address for the record, and limit your remarks to 3 minutes unless the mayor authorizes more time. The comments are supposed to be directed at the council and the mayor as a whole, not individually. And we are able to respond to certain things as long as we don't get into debating. If we start to debate up here with the comments, then we're going to fall afoul of the open meetings laws. With that said, the microphone is open.
Hello there, everybody. I appreciate all your time. Oh, whoops, I'm Lonnie Hoagland, 1408 East Main. I appreciate all your time. You do so much for the volunteer because you guys are volunteering all your time for this. I would suggest, I got 6 different things written down. I've got many more in my head that I was thinking about. A friend of mine said, don't go up there and talk about a million things, talk about a few. So I wrote 6 down. I'm trying to do an unlock for someone that needs their car unlocked over the weekend. Pitch black on like 13th Avenue, North 13th Avenue. Try and find an address on a house. Can't do it. I think there's an ordinance that says you need to have your address on your house. I'm just trying to unlock someone's car. Couldn't find it, so I called them. They said, well, yeah, the pickup's in the driveway. Had they said the pickup's running, the lights are on, it's pitch black, I'd have found it. But what if 911 dispatch is trying to find the person who's trying to die, trying to, blah, blah, blah. If the police department needs me to find an accident, I can always go to the lights. They tell me, they dispatch where to go, but I look for the police lights, blah, blah, blah. Try and do something to enforce that. Make people put their address sign on it. Make them do it. Or get rid of the laws. If someone's going to come up here and complain, ask them to come up with a solution. Don't just come up here and complain. I think you got 3 minutes to come up here and talk, and if the Mr. Mayor wants to let you more, he'll let you speak a little more. Make it 5 minutes and cut them off. Anybody. Nope, that's all you get, 5 minutes. Just make it more friendly. Mr. Mayor says a minute ago, does anyone want to speak? Nobody wants to. You're going up and talking to the principal in 3rd grade. You don't want to do it. Try and make it more friendly. I don't know what you can do to make it more friendly, but make it more friendly. He's trying. He's doing his best to do it. But nope, no one wants to talk. Move on. Okay. Well, try and make it more friendly. Let him talk for 5 minutes, but that's it. You don't get to talk about pit bulls 14 times. Just You know what I mean? You know what I mean? These are some things that I heard as I was contemplating running for city council. The compost is a huge thing. People, I run a landfill for dirt, to get rid of dirt and concrete rubble. I get so many calls. Yeah, I tried to get into the compost and I've got it loaded in my trailer and I can't get in. Can I take it to your thing? No, I can't take brush. Well, can't get in. I don't know what you do. You got to pay some guy to sit there with a clipboard and take notes when Johnny Fred, customer, brings his load of stuff down. I don't know how you do it. I just say, if it's rain and everything, the guy might as well say it's raining, close it down, get it going. But come up with something so more people can have time to get in there, get it going. Repair our streets. Unbelievable. So many
I'm going
people.
to let you go long on that one, but you just hit the 3 minutes, Lonnie.
Perfect.
Let me give you another minute.
Perfect. I like your idea. I heard a wonderful joke. I heard the best way to get the streets
If it's
fixed.
a lawyer joke, we're not listening to it.
It's a police joke.
Okay. We're okay.
Best way to get the streets fixed is have Chris Jones say, I need the streets fixed to make things happen. The police get stuff done. That's a good old joke, but the police is a good thing. I'm not supposed to mention names. Chris Jones is asking, or his department's asking, to get a military vehicle for emergencies, and I think it's a good thing. Get that going. And what I want to order here, the 3 to 5 minutes deal. Make things friendly. Try and help everybody. You guys are all trying to do it. I skipped over Little League. I've been helping the Little League ball diamond a little bit. I don't think the city's helping it much. You get people that are all tangled up with drugs later. If you can catch them in a program of, I don't care if it's soccer or whatever, but the Little League has been getting forgotten about. And help the Little League. Do what you can do to find it in your budget to help the Little League.
Thank you. Microphone's still open. And by the way, you get to talk about pit bulls as much as you want.
I
as
was
long
just
as
going
it's
to
limited.
remind you of that. Jim Shaw, 522 North 2nd Street. I have in the past, and I will continue to do so if the occasion arises, speak about pit bulls as many times as I want. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Marsha Basilis, 307 South 2nd Street here in Marshalltown. And I've got a few complaints and a few suggestions. No smoking in events because people are cigarette smoking. There's people with health issues and children running at them, around them. And dogs brought to public events are also dangerous because somebody could get bit. No, if I read it right, the Iowa law says no smoking in public areas within 25 feet of business doors, which is good because, I mean, people have health problems. They shouldn't be walking through secondhand smoke. And then I've had so many people, I would use a walker, and I've had people on bikes riding on the sidewalks, and they don't look out for anybody walking. So it's dangerous, because I had one guy hit the fence on the viaduct, and his bike fell apart. I braced myself. Plus, I'm got a little complaint about the city buses. They're not keeping to schedules, and it just seems like it's willy-nilly. If they don't have enough drivers, you don't get a ride. And I'm handicapped, and I rely on that because I do not drive anymore. I'm 71. And they provide discounts for school children to ride the city bus. Why not for senior citizens? And that's all I wanted to bring up. Thank you.
Thank you. Mic is still open if anybody else would like to speak.
Your Honor, I have a written comment that was submitted.
I think Ray might want
Oh,
to
okay.
speak. Excellent.
Yep.
Ray Mitchum, 1402 South 3rd Avenue. And I feel special tonight because I just hit the octogenarian club. And I was baptized 80 years ago, just one block to the southwest at the First Methodist Church. And so I've lived in this area probably longer than a lot of people. And I've always appreciated the Marshalltown and Marshall County area for many reasons. And I've always appreciated the way the city council has reacted. I did have a family back for my birthday this last week. One family from Michigan, one from Kansas City. And you want to know what both of them said was their main thing they noticed when they drove around town? The streets. And they both commented how the pavement, I mean, I'm sure you've had a lot of talk about why don't we get the streets fixed. And when I have family come in from out of town and say that, I really think, they really know, they notice it. And I think it's something that I hope we don't forget. But I appreciated a KFJB this morning with two of you council persons visiting with them. I hope people in this area listen to KFJB and Kicks 101. I think they both do a good job in helping promote this community. And I have appreciated how the city council members have tried to relay things to the community. And I think you need to keep that in mind, and all the way to the public library and how that is so usable, and that's been in the news lately, and it's nice to see that. And I was just noticing how a year ago my brother came to town to hear a classical guitarist at the public library, and so he came from Duluth to hear him play. So, there are people that are attracted to things in Marshalltown that a lot of us don't even realize. So keep up the good work and try to keep up on the things that need work. Thank you.
Great. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
I think it's your turn.
This was submitted from Dave Grebe, 126, 128, 128 and a half West Main Street. He asked that I read this email that he received from Mayor Joel Greer. David, though I have invited the general public to our home to meet a political candidate this Sunday, your post about it on Facebook has caused me some concern about having you attend in case you have plans to attend. So please know that it will be considered and reported as trespass if you do. Nothing personal. You and I have had pleasant conversations in person, but I do not want the candidate to feel I want the candidate to feel welcome. One of my family members has expressed concern about your most daily replies to my posts and your own posts calling me out on positions mostly political. As you know, I have simply not responded to them. But to allay that concern, I recently figured out how to block a person on Facebook, and I did block you. That apparently also kept me from sending you a private message on Facebook, which is why you're getting this email instead. And as long as I'm sending the email, I decided to include our new chief and our city clerk with a copy. Please reply so that I know that you got this and will comply. I will also send you a text message to your phone simply asking that you check this email. If I hear no response from you before tomorrow, please do not be surprised if an officer delivers you with a no trespass message to you in person. As another political figure is wont to say, thank you for your attention to this matter, Joel.
Thank you. No comment up here. He didn't show up in the Santa Claus suit out front, so it was nice. All right, let's go on to Mayor, Council, and Administrative comments. Any councilor wish to speak?
Your Honor,
Yes.
I'd like to in line with what Ray was talking about, I'd like to encourage the efforts by the city engineer and staff to work through the bidding process so that the mill and overlay can be going on this spring.
Your Honor, if I may. For those of you that do know or don't know, I have October 20th in the baby pool, but I'm told that I'm going to lose because they're going to induce on the 17th. Is that correct, Robert? Our good friend Robert is going to be a father for the first time, so we wish him well. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. Anyone else? Nothing for me. I bet we'd get out of here sooner than the two surrounding me, so we'll see if we can speed along. Well, let's go on to, anybody want to move to approve the consent agenda?
Move to approve, Your Honor.
Second.
Let's call the roll.
Mitchell,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Schneider,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Fonseca, yes, Kell,
Yes.
Lonnie Hoff,
Yes.
Very good. 10 of those matters were approved, and it only took 10 seconds. Ordinances, first one.
We have a public hearing in ordinance 15111 to amend the official zoning map for 212 East State Street from urban core zoning district to mixed use zoning district, second reading.
And the public hearing is open at 5:45 PM, and I ask for staff review first.
Good evening, Clayton Ender, Assistant Director, Housing Community Development. This is your second reading and public hearing tonight. For the benefit of members of the public that maybe were not present for the first reading, synopsis of this proposal is rezoning of 212 East State Street. That would be the northwest corner of East State and North 3rd Avenue. Proposal is to rezone the property from urban core zoning district to mixed use zoning district. Intended usage of the site is for a restaurant with a drive-through, specifically McDonald's as the intended restaurant there. While a restaurant with a drive-through is an allowed use in both the urban core and mixed-use zoning districts, the primary reason for the request is the urban core district requires a minimum of a 2-story building and a building setback of a minimum 5-foot, max 10-foot. The mixed-use district does not have those same restrictions. It does still require some additional height to a building facade, but it doesn't have to be a fully functional second floor. It could be additional height, such as a parapet wall. At the first reading, there was a question about the setbacks brought up by Councilmember Thompson about a little bit of discrepancy between our setbacks table and then our building design standards table. In reviewing that, there is a provision in the building designs that affords the zoning administrator, which would be myself, the ability to vary that on a case-by-case basis. At this point in time, since I do not have a complete site plan application, I'm not prepared to make a determination. I would want to have the benefit of a full application, but there is a process that would allow for some variation there. We do have a representative of the applicant with us this evening who can provide additional context, and be happy to go into further detail or answer any questions you may have for me this evening.
My next order of business is to see if we received any written comments. We rarely do.
No, Your Honor.
And then I'll open it to the public, and I'd suggest that that representative might want to wait until other people have spoken if you'd like a rebuttal, like I do as a lawyer. If nobody wants to speak, then go ahead if you'd like.
Joel Jackson, Bishop Engineering, 3501 104th Street in Urbandale. Appreciate you guys hearing our request here on the second rezoning for the potential McDonald's located in town. One of the comments, or a few of the comments at the meeting that we were discussing a few weeks back, were in regards to the site access. I did discuss that with McDonald's, and we've done a couple small revisions to the site plan to hopefully help to mitigate some of those concerns of the council. What you're looking at right now is a proposed change of the concept plan. You'll notice a couple different changes. One, on the west side, the employee lot, we're breaking that and not connecting that to Second Avenue anymore. And so you won't have that close access point to State and Second. I know that was brought up previously. On the east side, on the State Highway, what you're seeing on the north, that blue area, is the existing alley that goes over onto the highway. What this would do is move our proposed access onto the highway north. So it would be a minimum of 175 feet as measured from curb to curb, closest curb to closest curb, from the traffic signal intersection. And what we would like to request at a future meeting is potentially that the blue section of existing alley that's in disrepair right now, that section be eliminated. And so then the alley would continue west from that juncture, adjacent to the existing garage that's on that alley, and then it would turn and go north, and it continues north from there. So that's just one of our proposals, just trying to mitigate both city, and we were talking with the state DOT regarding access too, and feel like they would be hopefully on board with that, but they haven't made an official determination on that yet.
Very good, thank you. With the public comment concluded, I am to close the hearing at 5:55 p.m. and solicit a motion and council member discussion after that.
Move for approval.
Second?
Second.
All right. Council discussion.
Your Honor,
Yes,
may I?
you may.
I do have a question for Joel. Is it- Do you know when you will receive that information from the Iowa DOT?
As far as the access, well, since this is a fairly new proposal to the DOT, we're working through that process. As far as like the official approval of that access permit, that would come along at the same time that we kind of submit for building permit, along that time frame.
Okay, I'm assuming that you have worked on similar projects like this before, right? So how
Correct.
long has it taken for those ones, typically on average?
I'd say it takes, depending on, well, the DOT has different districts, and it all depends on the individual workload. I would say, like, when you're working through it with the DOT, that it's anywhere from like 2 to 8 weeks time frame, something along that lines. So you typically would align like the building permit process in your city approval process of the plans, because you'll submit detailed plans to the DOT for that. So right now, the DOT has a copy of the traffic study, and we've been in discussions with them in regards to the highway access and stuff.
Okay. So what issues do you see with this intersection here, typically with what McDonald's likes? Is there, I noticed that the entry got moved up maybe like 15 feet from where it was, right?
Correct. It might have been
So-
more than 15 feet,
A
but
little
yeah.
bit more, yeah,
Yeah.
okay. So what was the idea on that?
The idea on that would be that it eliminates one of the access points onto the highway, 2 different folds. It gets it farther away from the stoplight. I know that was a concern of the council earlier, and the DOT likes things that are farther away from intersections as well. And then also it eliminates one of the access points onto the highway. Right now there's an alley and there's the access into the old funeral home there, and so it would take those current 2 approved access points and combine them into one that's further away from the intersection.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Any other comments or questions up here?
Yes, Your Honor, I do have one for Clayton. And so I noticed that you stated that there is no complete site plan that you have seen for this. So what does that mean? Like, how are we to approve something that we don't know what it's really going to look like and rezone it when we don't know?
So procedurally, a rezoning is not a site plan. They are separate applications. This was provided as a concept rendering of how the site could develop. I would expect there to continue to be changes to this. It's not uncommon that a site plan would come in after a rezoning. There's a time and, time effort that has to be put into developing a site plan. And until the entitlements, the zoning allows for what they want to build to be built, oftentimes a developer may not want to put all that time and effort into developing a full site plan set until they have the full rezoning complete.
Okay.
Does that
I
help?
see it. Yep. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
No other comments? Let's go ahead and call the roll.
Schneider,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Fonseca,
No.
Kell,
Yes.
Lottie
Yes.
Mitchell,
Yes.
Nichols.
Yes.
Okay, that carried. We'll go on to
Your
the-
Honor, I would like to make a motion to waive the third reading on this ordinance.
Second it.
I don't think there's discussion on that one, so let's go ahead and call the roll. Correct me if I'm wrong, if anybody wants to discuss it.
Oh, that's correct.
Okay.
Kell,
Yes.
Lottie
Yes.
Mitchell,
Yes.
Nichols, Schneider,
No.
Thompson,
Yes.
Fonseca,
No.
Okay. That one, as I recall, does that call for a 2/3 vote or not? I don't have my cheat sheet in front of me. I don't think so. But it was 5 out of 7. Okay, that carried. I think, Joel Jackson, we saved you another trip up here at the next meeting.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
You'd think by now I'd know the rules of procedure up here, wouldn't you? I'm not going to learn between now and December 31. There was a cheat sheet. I don't know what happened to it. I actually had that on. Turned upside down. No debate and 2/3 to table or take off the table or end or limit debate or reconsider. No debate on points of order. So no, it didn't have the 2/3 requirement. But if it didn't require 2/3, it doesn't matter. All right, well, Carol, if you find that we did it wrong, we can come back to it. All right, let's go on to the second ordinance.
Ordinance 15112 to amend the Code of Ordinances, City of Marshalltown, Iowa by adding attendance requirements to Chapter 150 Plan and Zoning Commission, Chapter 31 Officers and Organizations, Chapter 156 Zoning and Board of Adjustment, Chapter 154 Electrical Appeal Board. This is the second reading.
All right. On this one, we don't have to have a public hearing, so is there a motion to approve this?
So moved, Your Honor.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Anybody wish to discuss out there or up here?
This amendment will add attendance requirements for boards and commission members to help promote accountability and regular attendance among its members and ensure that we have a quorum to meet the statutory requirements.
Not exactly controversial. Let's call the roll.
Fonseca? Yes. Kell?
Yes.
Lottie
Yes.
Mitchell?
Yes.
Nichols?
Yes.
Schneider?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
Very good. That carried. On to discussion items, the first of which is the Reimagine Marshalltown Comprehensive Plan.
Your Honor, if we could go back to the other item, the waiving of the reading. The council manual states that to waive readings of an ordinance requires, it is debatable, it is amendable, but it requires 3/4 of all council members to vote.
Oh,
in the
God, now I got to do the math.
It's not quite 3/4. It's 0.71.
The third reading will be on the agenda for next meeting.
Joel's already left. Somebody's going to have to let him know.
I will let him know.
Okay, thanks, Clayton. All right, that one failed. Thanks for looking it up. All right, now on to the first discussion item.
Good evening again, Clayton Ender, and I'm going to take a moment to introduce our planning team for our city's comprehensive plan update. We have Charlie with RDG, who's going to be our lead assisting us through this project. We also have Ben with EOCene supporting us as well. But Charlie's put together a presentation. I'm not going to steal his thunder. I'll let him lead you through, but I will be available to contribute as well. Thank you.
Thanks, Clayton. Good evening, Mayor, Council. Nice to meet you. I'm Charlie Cowell with RDG Planning and Design. I am based out of Des Moines and will be the project manager overseeing this project from the consultant side, RDG with EOCene. So you'll be seeing and hearing a lot of me over the next 12 months or so along with our team. This evening, just want to take a few minutes, kind of overview the process of where we're headed over the next year or so, outline some engagement efforts that we have planned this week, as well as give an overview of where we'll be touching base with you along the way. As Clayton
Charlie, if you could raise the mic just a little bit so people can hear you. You're a little soft.
There we go. Is that better? Perfect.
Yes.
As Clayton mentioned, this is a comprehensive plan and a more detailed housing study component of it. So our team, as you'll see throughout this process, is myself, my colleagues Marty Schukert, Flavia, Corey Scott, Megan Schott, and then we're partnered with EOCene for more environmental and redevelopment focuses with the two Bens, we'll call them, from EOCene. We are being guided by a steering committee. You can see the members there from the community that we'll be meeting with a handful of times, more than a handful of times throughout the next year. We've already met with them once to get oriented, and they'll be helping us along the way to provide direction and input as we move along. Hopefully you know what a comprehensive plan is. You have one. It gets used, and so this will be a full update of that comprehensive plan. We'll be taking a look at all of the parts of that plan to understand what might still be relevant, but we do understand there's significant changes we'll be making to that as well. So it is a big picture policy document for the city to help inform things like the zoning case you heard tonight. It will include a redo of the future land use map, which is a big picture of where we want to go in the future, and then a tool for you to make decisions on other items outside of zoning as well. So it will be a new document. All of these other studies you see on the screen will be fully integrated if we determine they're still relevant with our committee into the plan as well. And then additionally, there'll be a supplement housing study that will go into much, much more detail than the comprehensive plan would on housing, looking at market demand for the future, market forecasts, where we should be focusing housing policy in the future, how we might want to think about zoning changes that might be needed to meet our housing needs, and then strategies and incentives to consider moving forward to meet those needs as well. So our big picture schedule, we're literally just getting started. We've spent about 2 months in the background working with staff to get organized, to get our detailed schedule together, to get engagement ready to go. So we do have a project website. Hopefully you've seen it's linked on the city webpage, reimaginemarshalltown.com. We'll continue to advertise that moving forward. We're spending time today. We already got a tour from staff. We're going to be talking with a bunch of people, and then there's a community event I'll talk about tomorrow night as well. But you can see as we move along, a lot of meetings with our committee and touch points with the community as we move through the schedule. And it really starts with where are we at today, where do we want to go, and then how do we get there. So as I mentioned, Reimagine Marshalltown, that's kind of the brand that this project is being being branded under. We've got, I mentioned the website, and we'll be doing a number of different communication efforts throughout the process to try to reach as many people as we can. I can't say I know what the final product is going to look like, because we literally don't. We're starting from hearing from people, trying to understand what priorities are, and then the document and the plan forms out of that. So tomorrow we are kicking off well, really tomorrow and Wednesday by a series of focus groups as our initial engagement. We've invited a bunch of different people from a bunch of different backgrounds for some small group listening sessions. And then tomorrow evening is a first kind of public open house or discussion roundtable next door at the Coliseum. So hope to see you all there, or invite your friends. There's some cards in the back too for links to the website, but we've been getting the word out on that. We'll then be jumping into some polling and more detailed housing surveys later on this fall. We'll be doing a design workshop later in January that'll be focused on actually drawing out ideas for future land use and transportation, and then moving into implementation ideas and workshops in the later spring and summer months. So we'll plan to be touching base with you throughout this process, and obviously the Planning and Zoning Commission as well. So this is kind of a design workshop later in January. We'll be drawing things out with folks on the spot, understanding priorities. We will also be focusing on policies for land use, future land use changes, how that informs zoning. And then we'll also be taking a more specific look at some initial sub areas we've identified with staff. We're planning to dive into each of these areas in more detail than just a bubble map of future land uses, but thinking about more detailed connections, more detailed building needs and placements. And that includes some concept drawings of the old hospital site as well, on what that might want to be in the future based on what we hear from the community and what we think might be possible on that site. So this will be kind of kicking off these concept areas in January once we've started gathering a bunch of information here this fall. And then our implementation workshop later in the spring, we plan to hold a joint session with you and the Planning and Zoning Commission to really dig into how to move this forward with different action steps in 5, 10, 15-year increments. Hopefully a lot of items that can be plugged right into CIP programs and budgeting for future years. And just get everyone on the same page as well on what the draft plan looks like. So that was a really quick overview of kind of where we're headed over the next 12 months. I can't stress enough that we're literally just getting started. So while we understand that, we have some listening sessions tomorrow, we have a public event tomorrow. This is not the only time to get involved. There'll be plenty of opportunities along the way where we could use help getting the word out. We're doing our best right now to try to get the word out, and we'll continue to do that throughout the fall. But happy to answer any questions you have about what we're doing, where we're headed, or just about comprehensive planning in general.
Time and place tomorrow might help, as long as you're on TV and people are
Yes, we're at the Coliseum. Doors open at 5. We'll be giving a short presentation at 5:30, just kind of overviewing what the project is. And then depending on kind of who's in the room, our attendance, we might do a short discussion or pose some questions. Otherwise, it's an open house format. We'll have some displays explaining the project and ways to give input, and we'll be there to talk to anyone that wants to talk to us. So we invite everyone. Everyone's invited, anyone that wants to attend. So
solicit questions and comments from the council first.
Your Honor, if I may. Can you briefly tell the public, because a lot of people watch this, like Joel said, how they can get involved other than tomorrow night? Is there a link in the website where they can contact us?
Yes, so there is an reimaginemarshalltown.com. There is a form you can submit input as well as your email. If you'd like to have any suggestions on groups we should talk to. For example, we're going to the middle and high schools tomorrow and Wednesday to meet with some students and get ideas. If you have community organizations, realtor association groups, homeowner association groups that you think would be good to have a representative at to get input or talk about, let us know. Submit either to your council member or on the website, and we'll try to arrange something to get out and talk to you at. There will be monthly polls on the website as well. Right now, there's a poll question up. They're really short. They're like 1 or 2 questions. Those will be updated monthly to get input. And then there's also, if you can't come tomorrow, there's also an interactive map currently on the website where you can kind of go around on Google and pin drop ideas or things you want to see in Marshalltown, and that's for anyone to add comments on as well. So.
Anyone else up here?
Yes, Your Honor.
Sure.
So I am thinking of the end vision of this. So there's going to be a lot of construction, right? Is the kind of the idea with the housing?
We're not developing any housing plans with the housing study. It's more of a market analysis to identify what the needs are for the future are. So number of units, price point needs, and types of housing needs, and then where we see gaps in policy or items to be able to meet that need in the future, we would provide, the study will provide strategies to be able to get there.
Get like builders and to incentivize in this.
Correct,
or
yeah,
kind of
so
thing? Okay.
it may be, we may identify there's gap financing needs, we may identify there's lot development needs or infill help, assistance to make infill projects work, things like that.
Okay.
I'm just paraphrasing, I don't know if those are gonna be the recommendations, but
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
It's been a while since the last one. We've had 2 in the last 20 years, I think.
Yeah.
Chamber was involved, and those did incentivize some builders, developers to come to town, and that's helped our housing stock.
Yeah, and it's good, it's actually really great these 2 projects are together because some of those specific areas we look at may warrant doing housing in some of those areas, and so we may sketch up some building diagrams and things that could imagine sites for housing or mixed use that sometimes can spur developer builder interest when they can see something that, oh, okay, I think I can make that work, and then it might. But we specifically won't be submitting you any housing plans for approval or things like that.
Comments up here anymore? No? Okay. Any public comment on this one?
Excuse me.
Oh, sorry.
Jim Shaw, 522 North 2nd Street. I don't suppose you'd include city streets on this?
Yes.
That'd be nice.
Yeah, that's actually a good question, and maybe I'll go into a little more detail on what the plan includes since we have folks listening in the audience. So just beyond land use, we'll be looking at mobility, so street connections that we might need in the future, trails, sidewalk improvements, things like that on a citywide level, broad level. Parks and open space is included, neighborhoods, housing. Talked about that, infrastructure and facilities, and then kind of intangible things like arts and culture and diversity and those types of things as well. So it really is comprehensive when we think about it for the future.
I think RDG was also involved in the 34-mile trail, the River's Edge Trail, a while back. So.
Yeah, correct.
We're not unfamiliar territory to the company, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Any other public comment?
Tim Bradbury, 12 North 10th Avenue. It sounds like all good things going on, but who's financing it or who's behind it? Is it the chamber or some other special group that is pushing their agenda, or who's mainly pushing it forward or keeping, who's financing it or whatever?
Carol, you want to take?
Yeah, sure. The city is paying for the study itself. I believe we allocated lost dollars to do the comprehensive plan and the housing study. Council did that at a previous meeting. So the city is the owner of the project, although the chamber and other organizations in the community are part of the steering committee.
Lee Botter, 401 Orchard Drive. I use the QR code up there, and it is really a nice site. So I'd encourage everybody to do that. The one thing I would encourage council to do is, over the years, and I've been speaking for years, probably decades now, but when we do the comprehensive plan, let's use it, okay? Let's really truly use it and not let it collect dust like some of the past ones have. But please go to the QR code. That is really nice.
Other public comment? Okay, on to our next item.
Thank you.
That's downtown creative placemaking projects. Who wants to take the lead on this one?
Amber is going to speak to this item.
Sorry, I'm going to move this one. And I'll need to move it down. Okay, Amber Danielson with the Arts and Culture Alliance, 126 West Main Street. My hope is tonight that every time I get back up here that hopefully things, our partnership can continue to get clearer and more pointed on where we're headed. So the intention tonight is to go over the process of kind of how we got here and who was involved and where we're headed. So just to bring you back just a little bit, the Arts and Culture Alliance and the city have a long partnership of working together to collaborate on creative placemaking efforts. It might have been worded differently over the decades, but going all the way back to when Marshalltown was designated an Iowa Great Place in 2014, that was a co-application between the Arts and Culture Alliance and the city of Marshalltown. And many of these projects that you're seeing, while they were at the time more focused specifically on public art and that being the narrative, this was driven by the Arts and Culture Alliance's committee, the Marshalltown Public Art Committee. So we really kind of see tonight sharing with you the evolution of how we've gotten here. But just wanted to share that this has been going on for quite some time. So really what we're talking about tonight, and we've been talking about a lot, is really this transition from public art to creative placemaking. This idea tonight is not new. We've been doing it all throughout our community, and these are just a few examples. But hopefully, hold on, technology. I always feel like it's an opportunity when I'm up here to just continue the education. This is an initiative of the Creative Placemaking Committee, is to really do a better job of communicating what this work means. I may be using my now 8-year-old as inspiration in the upper right-hand corner. When he has dimples, I just have to put him somewhere. And so basically, this is not just to Marshalltown. I have the honor to be a part of a lot of these conversations at a statewide level, and talking about and making this narrative more widely understood is an initiative across the state. So really thinking about how we're explaining this, knowing that the Arts and Culture Master Plan has Elevate Youth as one of the key themes, is how are we explaining this to our future generation. So really, I'm not going to read all of this, but just kind of highlighting what does this work mean for Marshalltown, and really it's working together to make our spaces beautiful, fun, full of life, and make them a special place to Marshalltown, a place that you can't get anywhere else. And what we've seen when we do this work is it makes people feel more welcome, like they belong. It brings, this is again, I'm talking to an 8-year-old, boring spaces into new exciting places. And it gives everyone an opportunity to have a voice and have a seat around the table. It gives an opportunity for us to highlight what's special about our community, our past, our present, and headed into the future. This is something that we have started talking about, and again, I don't plan to read all of this, but just again highlighting the evolution of this work in our community that's been happening for decades. What we've seen in the past when the Public Art Committee was really heavily involved in these projects was that oftentimes we would identify a project and the artists would, in the creative aspect, would come at the very, very end. And what we would see is, and oftentimes projects that maybe this creative aspect looked out of place or didn't look embedded into the work, and oftentimes it didn't leave opportunity for community engagement. So where we're headed now as we look at projects like the Lynn Creek District, we've brought the opportunity to bring creativity further to the beginning of the project so that it can really be interwoven into the entire project. Sometimes public art still is an outcome, but oftentimes it's creative signage, it's creative seating, it's functional art that can also be used as play spaces. So again, that's kind of that evolution from calling it just public art to more of creating a unique place. Where we're headed is this really nice trio combination of community engagement, visioning planning, and more of a place identification instead of a specific outcome. And I know that was part of our conversation over the years as the Arts and Culture Alliance has talked about our partnership with the city, of many of you really wanting me to tell you exactly what we were going to do. But the idea of creative placemaking is that it's a process of engaging the community and really being inspired by and influenced by the vision plan. And so this is me coming back to you to tell you that that process is in action. I don't need to talk about all of these. We know that a lot of these projects are points of pride for our community. And really, probably one of the easiest way to talk about creative placemaking is in our community, uniquely Marshtown. What are those places and spaces that when you bring someone to town that you're showing off to them because they can't get anywhere else? And these are just some examples of places in our community that I know many people are very proud of. And in particular, since we're talking about downtown tonight, this work is already happening in downtown Marshtown with the Gallery Garden and the MCBD alleyway in the middle of downtown. I was going to say Wax Static, then I was going to say Tremont Building, but you guys know where it's at. So today, where we're at is, again, really focusing on this as a process to transform public spaces into vibrant places that are a reflection of who we are as a community. These are kind of our four leading guidelines and principles of really having a unified vision, making sure that community engagement is a huge part of this work, again, focusing on it being unique to Marshalltown, and having a lot of partnerships. And we talk about cross-sector collaborations, which really just means we have a lot of different people representing a lot of different groups, so that when we do community engagement, we can have a really nice widespread of getting as much reach to the community as possible. So I talked about this a little bit at our report middle of the year, a couple months ago. The year's fuzzy, how it's already almost the holidays, but was that part of our contract with the city was creating a creative placemaking committee. This really is, again, back to that evolution of the Marshalltown Public Art Committee. What once was is really, again, that cross-stakeholder engagement. And so what we have now is a really nice group of people that represent a lot of different organizations, businesses, property owners, the city, nonprofit leaders, the school district, and for the first time, an artist around the table, which is really exciting. We've been having monthly meetings for the last 3-ish months. And some of you have been a part of it, and I'm very thankful for your participation. And what we've talked a lot about was really what is going to be that vision plan that's guiding us. So it feels timely that this item comes right after the comprehensive study. Clayton is a part of this group and has been doing a great job at keeping us up to speed on things. This group had an opportunity to help brainstorm the naming of the plan. They had an opportunity to talk about what are the groups of people that we should make sure are a part of the plan. And so it really is becoming a nice thought partner for the city and a lot of work that's happening. But what we talked about is that the vision plan isn't going to be done for a while. We still have a little bit of time, and we know that there's opportunities to continue this work. And so what we did was kind of go through what we called a quick wins process. And how we defined quick wins was how do we make the community prideful, engaged, how are we drawing, retaining, and giving people an opportunity to linger in our community. So through this process, we came up with lots of different ideas that we could accomplish fairly quick. So these aren't going to be major infrastructure projects. Some of them aren't even going to be forever projects, but they're going to be an opportunity for us to have high impact quick. And so that gets us to where we're headed, which is 2 locations that are in our downtown. Basically with continued collaboration with the city outside of the Creative Placemaking Committee and guided by that group, we have identified 2 places that we feel like we can have really high impact and quick wins and tie it really specifically and aligned with the Arts and Culture Master Plan. I specifically pulled some narrative from Revitalize Over Restore, which is the first placemaking theme in the master plan, and everything that it talks about here of creating a culturally and vibrant and welcoming downtown, that beauty matters, sparking spontaneous connections, giving our community an opportunity to connect with each other in unique ways, energizing unused spaces, and expanding the color palette. So we are in the process now of certainly asking for your support in us utilizing and transforming these spaces under the guidance of this committee with continued community engagement. The idea is to be able to do these quick wins at the same time in parallel. We're going to go through 2 different processes. One project will be a request for qualifications, and another will be a direct commission. So we would have 2 separate artists working on these projects. The alleyway would be permanent installations, so whatever happens in that space would be to stay. The idea for the vacant lot would be that it would be temporary. The hope is that we can continue to draw development in that space, maybe show the space as an opportunity for a park. It is potential, or maybe it draws a developer for that area. Really just kind of, one, gives us some knowledge about how that space could be used and give more access to green space on the west side of downtown. I'm going to invite Danielle to pop in just a little bit because she's certainly been a part of this conversation too.
Danielle Leakin, 34 West Main Street, Executive Director of the Marshalltown Central Business District. Obviously, I was here just on September 22nd and talked about how we believe that downtown is the living room of our community, so we're really excited that the Creative Placemaking team agrees with us and is willing to take on some projects to invest in our downtown. Obviously, we're looking at doing more alley projects and getting all of these alleys that have kind of been identified as potential pedestrian walkways and improving those and making them better lit and safer for pedestrians to use city parking. And so we're really excited about this opportunity, and we do have a seat at the table, and so we're excited to work with the ACA and get these projects going.
The best part is there's no funding requests tonight. That has already been taken care of. And so as part of our continued partnership with the city, those funds have already been allocated for creative placemaking efforts. And so this really is just coming back to you and showing you that we've started this process. We've engaged community partners, and we're excited that the community continues to be invested in our downtown. And these are some of the quick win projects we'll see right off the bat. I am open to questions.
Questions up here?
Amber, when you say quick wins, these 2 examples, when are you talking about doing those?
Yep, thank you. The timeline for these are that we would get a call to artists out later this year, and so the idea would be that we would go through a selection process and some community engagement over the winter months, and then these spaces would be activated in the spring. So hopefully, as soon as weather turns around, we would see these and they'd be able to be used throughout next year.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Yes, Your Honor.
Sure.
Amber, so for the first picture, so is it just the walls or like the actual lot?
The lot, yep, the entire space. That one in particular, we intentionally did not give you examples of what the spaces are going to look like because we don't really know yet. That's the part of the call to artists. So the committee is working on objectives of really what we want this space to do. We've talked a lot about more things for families to do. We've talked about functional seating and spaces for people to just hang out when they choose to get a bite to eat in downtown or things like that. So I wouldn't say the walls are off limit, but we have not gone through any process with any of the building owners to get that yet. So we'll probably go through the call to artist process first, see what a creative brain comes up with based on those objectives set by the steering committee. And then we would go through that process depending on where we would go. So.
Okay, which is fine. And then, Your Honor, I have a question for our city administrator. So this lot is still up for sales. So what happened with that then, with the RFPs, Carol?
The RFPs are posted basically indefinitely because we didn't get viable proposals on, we did on one property, which was 20 East Main, but the other properties we did not. So they're just open, for people that might be interested. So if the property, if there was some interest in the property, that's why this one is temporary. We would have to, determine if we would relocate the art or if it would just be decommissioned at that point.
Anyone else up here? Otherwise, open to the public. Thank you. I do like the examples you've got below to show what others have done in the downtown area. The walkable alleyways really are a nice thing, and we've experienced that with the parking issues now that we're cutting up the Main Street and that sort of thing. But I mean, we were able to get to Sub City for lunch today with our granddaughter in town, and it wasn't any problem at all. And they had a pretty good line. Don't mean to discourage other people from showing up at Sub City tomorrow, but it was good, and they moved it along.
Your Honor, I do have a question now that I think about it.
Sure.
Amber? Are you and your committee in a position yet to ask us to vacate alleys, to take the transportation out of it and make it a walking alley or pedestrian alley? Are you guys that far along?
I don't want to speak inaccurately,
I would
but
say
no, but I feel like is the long-term vision, I'm looking at Heather, for the couple of these alleyways, we did engage Heather. I mean, what project does Heather not get pulled into?
So am I supposed to shut up? Am I too soon with that question?
No, it's a good question.
Heather Thomas, Public Works. As part of the downtown master plan and the plans that went into both State Street and the East Main Street currently under construction, the alley there next to Seven Rayos is going to be converted from a drivable alley to a pedestrian alley. There's no further action needed by the council. The east-west alley in that area will remain open to vehicles a half block north of East Main Street. However, the north-south in this area will not have the vehicle curb cuts. It will still remain accessible for utility companies because that's where a lot of the utilities are downtown. But as far as vehicles driving on it every day, we will not have that north-south traffic there.
I was hoping you'd actually say that because maybe I should shut up, but does the plan involve plantings where the asphalt is? Is it that comprehensive or is it just treating the walls?
No, it's definitely more than the walls. And I think that's really the driving force behind the transition from public art to creating unique places is because certainly, like I said, public art or a mural, I mean, that could be part of it, but I mean, we're really trying to draw an engaging space. And that's why I said the group is really, the plan is for the group to come together on Friday and set some objectives. And we always believe in keeping objectives pretty high level so that we can invite creativity and get something really unique for our community. If you get too specific, then we're basically showing what another community had done and go away from the whole point. But we've already started talking high level about, how to engage families, spaces for people to hang out. So I could see it going from, plantings and landscaping or stepping stone areas, walkways, seating. I mean, kind of the sky's the limit. But this is nothing new to our state. I mean, Danielle and I were looking at all kinds of communities across the state that are known for their alleyway redevelopments, that are known for vacant lot and unused spaces being completely transformed. So I think it's really timely for our community alongside the work on Main Street to be investing in this.
With our new, very nice parking lot back here and closing off half of the north-south one behind here, I know that we've also been looking at the south side of that alley would be another nice redo, kind of like the one that is pictured
Yeah, that has been a discussion of, is there an opportunity for us to keep doing an alleyway a year until we kind of knock them all out? So we specifically met with Carol and Heather and Kelsey and Danielle and myself to really look at priorities. And so this one kind of rose to the top as the first one, but there's certainly a few more, and I think it's exciting to think about having them all transformed.
Your Honor, may I?
Sure.
So Amber, this is one of those things, don't be afraid to ask us to vacate an alley, because we might actually say yes.
I'm not afraid to ask much, Gary. But certainly, I think, that's a huge part of the downtown master plan, and I would assume, I know we're not trying to make any guesses about the comprehensive study, but making our community more walkable, and that's certainly part of downtown as we expand and realize we have parking all over downtown, but how do we make it safe and accessible? So.
Very good. Anybody else up here? So let's open it up to the public then. Any public comment on this one? I don't see anybody jumping out of the chair, so let's go on to our next discussion item, and that is budget discussion, library, parks, and rec.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Council, Sarah Rosenblum, Library Director. I would like to take a quick minute when I wrote down when Amber wrote point of pride, and I do believe the library is a point of pride in our community. We'll be 17 years old this December, and my understanding is there was 10 years of planning before the building was built, so really 27 years. I have a big chunk of folder about that. When I started, Michelle Sponheimer, our wonderful housing director, had a graphic in her office with the library in the middle of it, and she had all these things around it. And she explained to me how she felt that the library, the building of the new building, kick-started all these projects. And I firmly believe that the library is a huge driver in our community. So the library budget, like most all the budgets in the city, is driven by personnel and benefits, and sometimes I think people are surprised by that. This year, in this fiscal year and next fiscal year, we have 2 planned retirements, one a longtime reference librarian, and then myself a little over 12 months from now. So those will have some impacts on the budget. Each year, in my 14 years, the library has come in under budget. Again, personnel, all that is the main cost driver, but other large expenses at the library are utilities. Some people have heard me talk about the fact that just the utilities are $60,000 a year between electric and gas. Sometimes my staff will complain it's too cold in the winter and too hot in the summer. I say, well, you're not paying the electric bill. Supplies, maintenance, and lawn care. We do take care of the lawn at the library. And then technology. So we have a system called Cersei Dynex that runs all the technology in the library for the what used to be the card catalog and checkout. And that maintenance is very high, and every year it goes up. I think this year it went up 7%. It's $25,000. We have another piece of technology that is the RFID. That's almost $8,000, and then we're always on a cycle to replace computers. The library did make a move in fiscal year '24 to move the book budget, which is $114,000, to the CIP. This is not an unusual thing in libraries across the country, and I've worked in several that did that. Was to take some pressure off the general fund. It's not on here, but the Friends of the Library also give us, this year they're going to give us $65,000 for ebooks. Ebooks are hugely popular, and they're hugely expensive. And I've talked to many people about the fact that an ebook that you or I may pay $10 or $12 for costs us anywhere from $100 to $150. And that's for leasing the content for about anywhere from 12 to 24 months. So there has been legislation around the country. Different states have tried to tackle ebook pricing, but unfortunately nothing has come of that. At the present time, we don't see any fee for opportunities at the library. We do not charge fees. One of the main drivers, again, for the library being built, I was informed, was meeting space. And that there was not enough meeting space in the city, free meeting space, and that was one of the drivers of the library. And this year, we're very pleased to say that by next year, we'll have completed new meeting space within the library, a totally funded project by the Friends of the Library, not to exceed 1.2 million. And so we're very excited about that and having more places for people to gather in small groups and larger groups. So that's very exciting. You know, the library is open 7 days a week, 58 hours a week. I always say we're a little closer to fire and police than City Hall. Sometimes when they announce that they're going to shut down servers or something on the weekend, I'm always calling right away to say, wait, you're not shutting down anything for the library, are you? But yeah, so you know, I think the library is great, and we are very lucky to have the Friends of the Library. Many of people in this room are members of the Friends. The Friends did just pay for a almost $130,000 renovation and upgrade of our technology in our big meeting room, which is used by at least 15,000 people a year and has made the room even more a more valuable asset for the community. So, do you have any other questions or specific items you'd like me to discuss?
We all use the library and know it and love it. It is kind of fun to see that 2 houses have now been blocked off. What's the word on those?
Well, I'm hoping that we will see before the snow flies, because they have built the 2, they've made the 2, what do I want to call the foundations, have been put in just down the street in previously owned lots by the city that were D&D projects, I believe. So that's kind of a nice way that it's all moving ahead. So I am very excited, and probably I'll wake up one day and they'll be going down the street. So, but I am trying to find out, as Clayton and Brad have been very patient with me whenever I ask them questions, and also ask, of course, the person that's doing that. And those houses, to remind you, belong to the Friends. They're going to be moved, they're going to get renovated, put back on the tax roll, families are going to get in them, and then that land will be deeded over, quitclaimed, whatever Carol and the lawyers advise us to do. So, I would like to say also that this is my 14th year at the city. I came on Halloween 14 years ago. I chose to come to Marshalltown. I chose to take this position. Marshalltown is the longest place that I've ever lived and worked. I moved around a lot in my prior life, and I'm very proud to be here in Marshalltown, and I'm very proud to be your library director. And I will say today I got a call from another library in another part of the state trying to recruit me, and I thanked them for the honor, but I said, you know, no, that's not in my game plan.
Very good. Well, we all appreciate what you're doing.
Thank you.
I guess I didn't open that one for public comment, but I can now. Anybody want to comment on that?
Well, Kelsey can present on the Parks and Rec if the public wants to comment on the presentation in general, maybe.
Yeah, let's go with Kelsey next, and then we can call for the whole
Okay.
firing squad.
Sorry if this is loud. Oh, I did it. Okay. Good evening. Kelsey Stafford, Parks and Recreation Director. The Parks and Recreation Department budget is driven by personnel and benefits mainly, operating expenses, and maintenance costs. Efforts to bring services and maintenance tasks in-house are currently being explored, in addition to surveying fees and opportunities to garner additional revenues for services rendered. New amenities, expanding landscaping, and increasing requests for city maintenance will impact staffing needs and operating costs in the future. One of the first things that we did was explore some opportunities for efficiency and elimination. And in our initial review, we did find 3 areas where we would be able to accomplish that. So our first thing is to eliminate some contract lawn care, so we identified some parks and areas that would be easy for us to get to and eliminate the contracts for those. Another thing is eliminating contract spraying. So right now we're contracting out some pesticide applications, but now at the end of fiscal year 26, we anticipate that 5 of our staff members will be certified applicators, so we will be able to eliminate that contract. And then the third opportunity is to eliminate our contract training at the Aquatic Center. Right now we're paying someone to do our lifeguard classes and train our lifeguards. We'll be able to eliminate that going forward. And so altogether we're looking at $18,000 there in savings. And then some fee-for-service opportunities, we are looking at this further, but initially we're recommending that we expand our campground services, our dog park fee survey, and explore some online payment options for that to make it easier for people to pay for using that dog park. Do some more heavy marketing on our memorial tree and bench program. Right now, it's kind of just a passive way for us to make some income, but if we heavily market that, we see that expanding that program. Doing some minor improvements to our rental buildings, and then looking at Anson Park. That particular shelter does need some extensive work. Looking at potentially rebuilding that and expanding the service in Anson Park. And then lastly, doing some heavy marketing and some internal programming to increase Coliseum usage and hopefully inspire rentals in the future. And with that, I will take any questions that you have.
Questions up here?
Your Honor, I'm curious how we're eliminating training lifeguards. Do you have someone in-house to do that now?
Yes, I'm certified. Yes, so I'll be taking that on.
So with your busy schedule, you have time to train lifeguards?
There's always time to train lifeguards.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Well, thank you.
That's usually after hours because the kids are more awake at, 8 p.m. than in the morning, so, yeah.
Sorry, did you just call me old?
No,
Okay.
hey, I'm in bed early too. What other questions can I answer?
Mayor, if I just may make a comment, I just want to say what a fantastic job Kelsey is doing in her position. She's really, just this memo is an example of gone out of her way to identify some opportunities for both cost savings, but also improving the services that we provide. So between Kelsey, her staff, and also Carrie Morris, I think is her last,
Yes.
who does, has a background in marketing, I think they're really doing a good job for the Parks Department.
Thank you very much, and I will say I can't do anything without my staff, so huge kudos to them and all the work that they do. Thank you, Carol.
Jenny on your staff was the first guinea pig for the Kicks 101 car wash karaoke.
Yes, she was. I was glad it was her, not me.
I'm the second. As of Wednesday morning, apparently
Oh,
they're
you
going
were?
to publish that. I'll be publicly embarrassed.
I think we all will be at some point, so.
Yeah, the other thing you've done really well is getting the word out. The social media, the signups, the regular posting that we're getting,
Yes, I have to give Carrie all the credit for that. She does an amazing job.
Yeah. Well,
Thank you.
It's a nice change, truly.
Your Honor, that's a good question, Your Honor. Do we need to be thinking about another building? Are they getting rented that often on the weekends?
Most weekends are booked, I would say. However, a few of them, I don't want to speak out of turn, I'm not exactly sure, will be closing soon for the winter because they're not year-round facilities. And so I think we would get a lot more usage if we did have another year-round facility.
So if we, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
So if we just winterized one of those buildings, we would see the benefit of that, one or two of them.
Yes.
Okay.
I remember when the last one was built, and it was going to be cheap siding, and the Rotary Club stepped up and said, no, we can raise the money and have it be a nice wood siding, and it does look a lot better doing that. So if that happens, money shows up when there's a good idea and good people behind it.
Yes, we have great community partnerships, so we thank them all.
Well, I guess I asked for public comment, didn't see anybody standing up.
Thank you.
But one last chance, I guess, because there were two presentations. Anybody else want to speak on that one? I've already lost the bet tonight. Ray, did you want to come up?
Yeah, Ray Mitchell, 1402 South 3rd Avenue. Some of you might know that I taught in the public schools here for many, many years. And I had junior high and high school science students. Some of you may even have been fortunate enough to have survived one of my classes. But I always appreciated being able to coach science project students for state science fair competition. And I always, as I mentioned earlier in this meeting, how we are very fortunate on having a good public library. And many of my kids came here to research for good science research papers, and I always encourage them to seek all sides of the story. And for that reason, the last few years, I've given to the library so the library hasn't had to pay for it. I've given them the Epic Times. It's a weekly, a nationally, internationally known paper that has much good science research in it. And I know a lot of my kids would say, Mr. Mitchum, you give that paper to the library, but why isn't it on the shelf? And I hope this last year that Sarah is working here, that she sees herself saying, why can't the Epic Times be with the TR and the Des Moines Register? So that would be my wish for Sarah's last year. She does a good job otherwise, but I just wish that she would have it on the shelf instead of on the free. You know, it's so popular that I come back the next day that I had delivered it and it's already gone. And so it'd be nice to have it available to adults and high school students especially when they would like to read it. Thank you.
Anyone else? Let's go on to the last item then for discussion, and that's the railroad quiet zone, what some of us are calling safety zone.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This evening, just wanted to do a quick update on this project and get some concurrence to go ahead and issue what we're going to call the notice of intent on this project. So the last time I was in front of you was March of 2024 on this project. We discussed the current status at that time and with the changes the UP was making at 2nd Street, if there was any change of direction the council wanted. Because of that, we've continued along with the closure of 2nd Street, and that process is still underway. So with some of those, we've made a lot of different coordination efforts with the UP and their 2nd Street project. With them adding another rail yard, they were required to do constant warning and some signal updates at the other intersections here in town. So those are the 4 on the screen in front of you. Because of that, we took our plans and modified our plans and then also made measurements on their plans to indicate where they could move some of their signal cabinets that they had to do anyways to save the city costs on our project moving forward. So we are at a point now where we are in agreement on the plans that we have in front of us. And this last month, then we got cost estimates from the UP Railroad as well. So anytime that you do improvements in infrastructure, hard surfacing within the UP right-of-way, they only allow their contractors to do that work. And so a lot of the project costs for the city is basically costs to us that we're reimbursing the UP Railroad to do those improvements within that right-of-way. So with the closure of 2nd Street, that's also allowed us to eliminate some of the hard surface work outside of paint and signage at 12th Ave. So our project is now going to be focused at 12th Street and 6th Street. I've got those plans in front of you here, but out at 12th Street, we are looking at, the center raised median as well as curbs on the outside and tying in those areas. And then at the 6th Street crossing, we are getting a pedestrian sidewalk established all the way through that crossing to provide some better connection in that area as well. So those are the highlights of the project and what we're looking at now. With the cost estimates we received last month, we also got updated cost estimates from Bolton and Mink, who was doing the design on behalf of the city for the stuff the city is going to be doing. And so total project costs, past stuff that has already been spent, is about $1,165,000. I've outlined the revenue in the memo for that. Part of that is a bond swap from the 363 fund, as well as about $457,000 from road use tax. So with that, and the upcoming formal vote and agreements for closure of 2nd Street, it's important for us to be to get this notice of intent that we would like to establish a quiet zone out to the public before we sign any agreements related to that Second Street closure. So with that, I will open it up for discussion and request authorization to go ahead and submit the notice of intent, which is we're requesting comments from different agencies on the city's proposal to go ahead and create a quiet zone.
Council comments or questions?
Your Honor? Heather, do you know off the top of your head what the cost difference is between putting a quiet zone in or closing an intersection? We got paid for closing Second Street, right? We actually made money on that one?
We have negotiated payment for us to close Second Street. We've not received payment yet on it. However, the negotiated cost that we have on that is $850,000 from the UP Railroad and a $100,000 matching grant from DOT, which is Section 130 funds. The reason we were able to negotiate such a high dollar amount was because of their yard project where they were adding that second track, and that eliminated them from doing about $750,000 worth of signal work at that intersection. So had that not happened, we were looking closer at the 100 maybe from UP and 100 from DOT for a total of $200,000 for the closure of a crossing.
All right, thank you.
Anybody else up here?
When do you anticipate coming back for council for the next item?
Can you be more specific as far as what specific item? Are you talking about closure of Second Street, or are you talking about going to bid? Okay. Closure of Second Street right now, in fact, since I came to you earlier this year, I want to say it was like 5 months ago, ish, we have been waiting for the UP Railroad to submit us hard plans of their proposed infrastructure changes for Second Street, which is their responsibility. We have not received that yet. So that is what's holding up that next step. They did send us a draft agreement of the crossing closure to review, but we've told them we are not going to review and approve the crossing agreement until they give us the actual hard infrastructure plans. So every time I reach out, I would say for the last 3 months, it's we're in our final review. It's coming. So I'd love to tell you that we would expect to receive that in the next, month, but I can't make that commitment with UP's track record.
So it could be 1 month or 6 months or?
That's correct. Yep. The important thing, just from the priority scoring and points for determining if you're able to create a railroad quiet zone, is that we want to capture the points of closing Second Street in part of that calculation, which is why we're asking to go ahead and proceed with a notice of intent at this time, even though there's some of those other items that are still outstanding.
Other comments, questions up here? Otherwise, we'll open it to the public. Open to the public on this one. That allows us to adjourn. You're the winner. Then
Did she get Heather, did you get the direction you needed? I'm not sure that she did. She's looking for authorization for the notice of intent.
Your Honor, I'd like to give staff direction to proceed with giving the notice of intent to close Second Street.
I'll take that as a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
And proceed with quiet zone in general, yes.
Roll call.
Mitchell?
Yes.
Nichols?
Yes.
Schneider?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
Fonseca?
Yes.
Kell?
Yes.
Laddiehoff?
Yes.
Very good. By the way, I used to be on Second Street and could go directly down to the Y from there. The other day, twice in the last week and a half, I have run to the Y, and having to deviate up the viaduct and come down the steps was really very easy, and I don't think it took more than a minute or two to do that. So for the people that have been using Second Street, if you're on foot, it's a very easy change to make. If you're driving, it's an easy thing. You can cut through Quick Star, which they probably don't appreciate, but it really doesn't cost much more time. So with that, we are adjourned at 6:57.